The Royal Commission into Child Sex Abuse in religious and state institutions, announced by the government last year, gets underway this Wednesday in Melbourne. For victims, it will be some sort of massive relief that finally their horror stories will be told in a public and such a powerful domain. For the Commission itself, it's a huge undertaking. 2 judges and a police commissioner are among the 6 commissioners who'll hear possibly thousands of individual witness statements. Unlike most royal commissions, some of the hearings will be done in private, which raises uncertainty around what might be able to be reported or what can then form part of a brief of evidence, and it may continue until 2015. To give us a preview, I'm joined now by the Law Institute of Victoria Council member, Angela Sdrinis, an expert lawyer in this area. Angela, thanks very much for joining us on this public holiday. Now, what can the community expect from this Royal Commission? Firstly, in these first few days this week, and then through the entire sitting?
Well, the Commission's first sitting is this coming Wednesday in the County Court in Victoria, and the Chair of the Royal Commission, Peter McClellan, Supreme Court Judge, has said that the presentation will include a discussion, information about the workings of the Royal Commission, and a discussion about the future conduct of hearings, both public and private. There'll be an opening statement from Counsel assisting the Commission, Gail Furness, SC, and we anticipate that that opening session, which will be a brief session, no evidence will be taken, we anticipate that that session will in fact be an outline of what we can expect from the Royal Commission.
Okay, so when is evidence expected to be started to be heard?
The present indications are that by June the Royal Commission should be up and running. As yet, the Royal Commission doesn't even have permanent officers. I think they've got a temporary office. They're advertising for staff. There's still a bit of work to be done before the Commission can start sitting and hearing evidence, but the time frame that the Commission has been given is quite short. An interim report is due to be handed down in June of 2014, and the government anticipates or hopes for an end date at about the end of 2015. Now, that's a very short period of time for the sort of undertaking, the task that the Royal Commission has been given. Having said that, a lot of work in this area has already been done. A lot of work has been done by other inquiries. There's a Victorian inquiry going on as we speak into the handling of child sex abuse allegations by religious and non-government organisations. There have been other inquiries in other states, the Ford inquiry in Queensland, the Mulligan inquiry in South Australia. There have been redress funds. There's been a whole lot of work that's already been done, and part of the terms of reference of the Royal Commission are that the Commission will look at the work that's already been done and hopefully not have to reinvent the wheel.
All right, the Prime Minister has warned there will be a lot of trauma for the victims of the institutional sexual abuse, of course, and for the community. So will every individual story be heard? Is that what you're expecting?
No, that's not the... Well, the expectation is that anybody who wants to tell their story will be given the opportunity. But the community will not necessarily hear all of the stories. The Royal Commission will be able, individual commissioners will be able to hear evidence or receive information in private hearings. We're not sure how that information will be used, if it will be used by the Royal Commission in making their recommendations or in coming to conclusions or indeed in making that information public. Hopefully that's one of the issues which Peter McClellan will clarify at the opening session.
Angela, is it designed mainly for victims to have their stories told and heard in a Royal Commission setting, or is it also designed to question the perpetrators and indeed the leaders of some of these institutions?
It's absolutely the case that both of those areas will be looked into. In terms of the process, it probably makes more sense for for the individual stories to be collected in the first instance. It makes more sense for evidence which is already available through the other inquiries to be collected in the first instance. But I anticipate that once that's been done, that's when the organisations will be called to give evidence and to produce documents.
Okay, so the Commission does have strong powers and they will call senior figures in these institutions, such as our major churches, to be questioned?
That's certainly the expectation. The Royal Commission has powers to compel witnesses, to compel the production of documents. Witnesses can decline if they have a reasonable excuse, but for example, even self-incrimination may not be regarded as a reasonable excuse before a Royal Commission. So the Royal Commission certainly does have very wide powers.
So is it your understanding they will call church leaders, for instance, like Archbishop George Pell?
It would be my expectation and my hope that they will call church leaders and other leaders of organisations which have been implicated in child sex abuse.
Of course, as far as the Catholic Church goes, this is an issue new Pope Francis must deal with around the Catholic world.
Well, I don't want to comment on specific organisations, but it is certainly the case that the issue of clerical sex abuse has been a very prominent one in recent years. One of the reasons we have this Royal Commission is because of ongoing revelations and disclosures and investigations into clerical sex abuse. But it's not just the churches. This Royal Commission will cover any organisation, including government organisations, sporting organisations, social organisations, any organisation where child sex abuse has been an issue.
Angela, can you explain what happens to the evidence once it's been heard and aired? Yes, it goes into a report. Will the Commission itself, the Royal Commission, have the powers to prosecute, or do they put a brief of evidence?
Yeah. No, the Royal Commission itself won't have powers to prosecute. One of the proposals is that the Royal Commission will be able to set up investigative units who will be able to undertake investigations, but the purpose of those will be to refer evidence to the police, who are the appropriate body to prosecute, rather than for the Commission or these investigative units to do the prosecuting themselves.
All right, we will wait and see how it pans out, but there's obviously a lot of work to do before it actually gets underway, really. Angela Sdrinis from the Law Institute of Victoria, appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
And our panel is next, so stay with us.